There might be concern for the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe film Deadpool and Wolverine. It might not be the Marvel Studios Marvel Cinematic Universe saver that Marvel Studios is hoping for. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And indeed, the first day ticket sales for Deadpool and Wolverine are almost 50% less than Spider-Man No Way Home, and might actually be more than 50% less, depending on which estimate we look at. So we have a new report. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Claims that Marvel Studios' upcoming superhero film Deadpool and Wolverine has sold around $9 million in tickets in its first day of pre-sales. However, that is nearly 50% less than Spider-Man No Way Home. AMC Theaters CEO Adam Aaron reported on X that the film had sold some 200,000 tickets, is what he wrote. Many big movies will open in May, June, and July, including Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Opens July 25. Some 200,000 movie fans have bought their AMC tickets already. This is more day one ticket sales at AMC than for any other R-rated movie ever. So that is the key disclaimer there, R-rated movie ever. Fandango also reports this as well. In its first 24 hours of pre-sales, Deadpool and Wolverine sold more tickets than any R-rated film in Fandango history. Again, R-rated film, because it's clearly not the most sold film ever. But before we get to that, we have this report from the Hollywood Reporter's Pamela McClintock. She claims inside sources informed her that first day sales are likely around 8 million to 9 million if extrapolating the 200,000 stat cited by Aaron. However, as noted by Matt McGloin at Cosmic Book News, shout out to him, this is around 50% less than Spider-Man No Way Home and is significantly less than the current record holder for highest grossing first day pre-sales, which was Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour concert film. In AMC's press release touting the first day pre-sales for Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, the theater chain announced Thursday's ticket sales represented $26 million in ticket sales revenue, a new record for ticket sales for a single title on one day at AMC. So 8 to 9 million, nowhere near the 26 million that people shout out for the Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour on the first day those tickets were available. Not only did they reveal that Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour brought in 26 million in its first day, but it also revealed that 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home was the previous record holder. The press release said this: the previous record of 16.9 million was held by Spider-Man No Way Home. So if indeed Deadpool and Wolverine has sold $9 million, that's a decline of just shy of 47% from Spider-Man No Way Home. If it is 8 million, that's more than a 52% decline from Spider-Man No Way Home. Now let's add some color here. First day pre-sales are not necessarily an indicator of how well a film will perform at the box office. Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour only grossed a total of $261.4 million worldwide, despite breaking the record for first day pre-sales. And of that $261.4 million, only $180.7 million was done at the domestic market. That means that the first day pre-sales made up almost 15% of the entire domestic gross for the film. In contrast, Spider-Man No Way Home grossed $1.9 billion worldwide. The film's domestic gross hit $814.1 million. That means the film's pre-sales were only 2% of its entire domestic run. So pre-sales aren't really a good metric on how well a film will do over the long haul. Obviously, we see in these two examples here that Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour had the biggest day ever for first day ever for pre-sales, but it only grossed $261.4 million. And that first day pre-sale made up 15% of the film's entire domestic gross. And then in contrast, Spider-Man No Way Home was the previous first day pre-sale record holder. And it went on to bring in $1.9 billion. And the pre-sales were only about 2% of its entire domestic run. So if Deadpool and Wolverine is lucky enough to have its first day pre-sales only make up 2%, which I don't think that's going to happen. I think these first day pre-sales are going to be a lot higher than 2%. But if it does, that means the film will have a domestic gross of around $400 million. That would be a huge win for Marvel Studios. given the first Deadpool only had a domestic gross of $363 million, and Deadpool 2 had a domestic gross of $324.5 million. However, if it performs like Taylor Swift The Eras Tour and its first day pre-sales make up 15% of its entire domestic gross, the film is only looking at a $53 million domestic gross. That is atrocious. Catastrophic. That would be catastrophic for Marvel Studios, which is clearly trying to rebuild its brand after an abysmal 2023 that saw the company rack up massive losses with the release of the Marvels, as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And I think there's also speculation that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 might have lost money as well. I know that it was really close on whether it was profitable or not. I think maybe some reporting has come out from Caroline Reed at Forbes indicating that the budget for that film was indeed higher than initial projections, meaning that that film likely lost money as well. It was also the worst performing of all three Guardians of the Galaxy films. Huge declines compared to the first two. But we do have kind of an initial projection. The Hollywood Reporter says that the film will cross the $100 million mark in its opening weekend. So that's obviously higher than that $53 million, right? Total. If it simply hits 100 million, that is still way down compared to the original film. It grossed 132.4 million in its opening weekend. That's a 25% decline from the first film if it just hits around 100 million in its opening weekend. That would also be down compared to Deadpool 2. It had an opening weekend of 125.5 million. It would be a 20% decline if it just hits around 100 million. So I think that this film might not be doing as gangbuster numbers as what some might have suspected. I don't think it's clearly going to do anywhere near the 1.9 billion that Spider-Man No Way Home did. It might do even worse than the previous two Deadpool films. And we even have Ryan Reynolds here kind of tampering expectations. Some people think this is funny. I just think it's accurate, true, and sad. But let's take a listen to what he has to say here.
We're very excited to be joining you July 26th. Many of you are very excited, but we should set the table correctly. This film is as paper thin as a sequel to Battlefield Earth. We're mostly going to beat each other senseless, make enemies with Disney, tell a few dick jokes, make a few jokes at my expense, make a lot of jokes at Hugh's expense, and completely sidestep Marvel's mandated after-credit sequence, which, if you haven't figured it out yet, is always just a commercial for another movie, which will invariably end with a commercial for another movie. So sit back, relax, let us lower your IQ and raise your heart rate while we travel to a vapid dreamland, a place where grown men and grown women walk around in tights and act like it's not a giant cultural cry for help. This is cinema.
So I'm sure some people think that's funny. Like, I don't know how trying to, I mean, he's accurately portraying Marvel Studios and mocking it. It's just sad. But I mean, I guess some people think that is funny. It seems to me like he's lowering expectations. He is trying to sell it as kind of a romp, which is something you may want to get back to. Just trying to sell it as like, this is an entertaining film. But then he adds all the other stuff that reminds you of how awful the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. And it's like, well, maybe do I really want to see that? Maybe it's not. But I think this film might be in trouble. It might be in trouble at the box office. It might be another lukewarm box office. It might do even worse than the first two films. And I think if it does worse than those, that is a huge, huge negative for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for Marvel Studios. And I think it kind of puts the final nail in the coffin that it's over. It is over for the MCU if this film does not do big numbers. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable to each other, but to always speak the truth.